Hi,
Welcome to
Tzipi.
another Tzuzamen. Hi, Tzip. Hi, David Winitsky from New York. David, what are you doing?
What am I doing right now? I am prepping to make some latkes, and
Ah,
then I am going to a New Year's weekend with some friends.
ah,
Yeah, but I meant, what do you do?
in life, outside,
What
in
do
your
you do?
social,
We're
personal,
talking about Jewish experience of theatrical life.
right.
So tell us about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am David Winitsky. I am the founder and artistic director of the Jewish Plays Project.
Ah,
The Jewish Plays Project is a development house for what we like to call 21st century Jewish theater.
ah.
We are working with artists and communities to to identify and develop and advocate for what we like to call 21st century Jewish plays, plays that talk about today's moment in Jewish life. We were founded in 2011,
Wow.
so this is our 14th season, which is really exciting.
Where are you? How come we never heard of you?
I am sorry, Jill. I'm very sorry. So we are based in New York City. We work nationally. We do our primary development work in New York, but then we have community events that we run in conjunction with our national playwriting contest in 9 to 10 cities around the country and around the world, including in Israel.
Is it for you're looking for Jewish playwrights or plays which deals, or if it's Jewish playwright, it doesn't necessarily has to be with Jewish life?
No, it's a great question. What we're looking for. We like to say that you don't have to be Jewish to have the Jewish conversation. We're looking for plays that deeply investigate Jewish life right now, and that can be by writers who are Jewish and writers who are not. Um, I would say probably 75 to 80% of the writers who submit to us are Jewish, but and many that we work with are Jewish, but that is not the question. The question that we're asking is what is in the story? What is in the play?
So if just for not because I want to sell myself, it's but I can
Okay.
it's easier for me. So if I wrote two plays, one of them deals with a autistic child and his father journey to reclaiming back, but it takes place in Israel, it takes place in the Galilee, or again, you know about losing a child in a war.
Mm,
More dishes, I understand it's more relevant to Israel, but the first one I
okay.
mentioned is very universal.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. We have an ongoing conversation about the inherent Jewishness of something that is set in Israel, right? Like, is it Jewish just because it happens in Israel,
It's a question.
right? And sometimes that's true. And certainly things that circle around the conflict in many ways feel very critical to Jewish life for everybody, right? And so we have a play that we're working on this year by an Israeli writer named Moti Lerner,
Yeah,
who, yeah, you probably have
sure.
met Moti.
You
He's
know
been
him.
around for, yeah, he's a great guy, has a really interesting play. It's a play that was produced in Jaffa, actually.
Oh, in the Arab
In the
Israel,
Arab
yeah,
Jewish theater.
yeah.
yeah. And in 2022, and we're working on an update and an American version of it. Um, that has, I think it actually does have some very interesting Jewish questions in it about grief, about parent-child relationships, but is mostly about the conflict. But we feel like that is so critical to what's happening in the Jewish conversation right now that it's important for us to talk about. But outside of that, we have really interesting conversations about uh, uh, what makes a Jewish play, right? What is something that
Yeah.
makes a Jewish play? And for us, what we're looking for is the way we've come to describe it is we're looking for the place where the Jewish question that's being asked, whatever it is, the thing that is really deeply invested in Jewish ideas and ethics is deeply connected to the narrative of the play, to what happens in the play. So that the Jewish is critical to the play and strengthening the Jewish content actually makes the play better. That's where we like to live.
Who
And
is
that
your
can be
audience?
across a wide range of topics. Huh?
Dave, who is your audience?
So we have two parts of our work. Everything is under an umbrella we call artistic democracy. I have always said, like, I don't want to be in some sort of like ivory Jewish tower deciding by, fiat what is new Jewish theater. I want to have a really big conversation about it. So we have on the front end, we have an artist group, an artist panel of about 75 artists around the country who help us read and sort through the 350 or so plays that we get submitted every year and help us choose a group of 6 to 7 finalists that we work on.
So all these people are participating in the reading of the plays and choosing them.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then which theater, which venues do you use once you choose the plays?
Yeah, so once we choose the plays, we go out to our community panel process, which is a similar process. We have groups around the country and in Israel, and this year, hopefully in Toronto also, who read our finals plays and then help us choose the ultimate winner. And those are groups that we usually work. We partner with organizations, Jewish organizations, and theater organizations in each city we visit. And it's a cross section of theater people who are in the field professionally, of theater lovers, people who just love the theater and are excited about reading it, and then people who are invested in Jewish life and want to see creative cultural approaches to Jewish
So
life.
you
And so
choose the same show, the same play that goes to all the theaters, or like, let's say if it's in Israel, they choose another play, and in California, they choose another play.
One of the things I love about this format is it almost never happens that two cities will choose the same plays. Everybody has their own approach, and so the way we do it is when people choose plays, they are assigned a certain number of points, and at the end of the contest, the one with the most points.
Are you
So we-
known as the fringe? Are you known, the fringe theater in
yeah,
America?
Yeah, I mean, so what we're trying to do in this whole process is bring attention to these plays because we don't actually produce them. We get them, we connect them with
You're the
producers and
brokers.
producers.
You're the brokers.
Somewhere around there.
They choose the
Somewhere around there.
repertoire, no, what plays, and then people choose
Yeah,
and they
they're the
produce it.
brokers. They put together
Yes.
Right,
everybody.
right.
So you choose different actors locally for every
They choose, the
production.
community
Yeah,
chooses,
yeah.
not you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we produce live events that we call or that are our live contest events, which are super fun. I always describe them as a combination of a TED Talk, a play reading, and American Idol, where we talk a little bit about the state of Jewish drama. We read 20-minute excerpts of the three plays that each community has chosen, and then the audience that's there, about 150 people, votes on a
So
winner.
basically you have variety of audiences because each place has a very different picture.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what we thrive on is this conversation.
How many
Is
productions a year?
we do 8 to 10 events a year,
Wow.
and but the thing that I'm really excited about is of the 61 plays that we have actively developed, 40 of them have gone on to production in New York, in London, in LA, in Tel
Wow.
Aviv, and around the country. And I think this year we'll probably have about 10 or so different plays that are produced in venues all over the country.
It's always new plays or also old plays and classics?
No, we only do new plays. That is our focus. Um, but you never know. Sometimes a new play is a question. We had a really interesting play that we worked on in 2013 that at the time was called Leon's Dictionary, and it was a lovely play, family drama about a family of Ukrainian Jews deciding when they were going to leave the Ukraine and where should they go, the U.S. or Israel. That was the question of the play, and it was an interesting play in 2013. But flash forward to 2023, and it is absolutely of the moment and the most important thing people can talk about. And the playwright changed the name, and it got produced as The Last Parade in a couple different places. So the journey can take a long time. So a new play is a sort of a flexible term.
So I have a colleague at NYU, Daniel Goldfarb. I don't know if you know Daniel Gold.
I know of him. I don't know
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So no, he writes a plays which are Jewish, some of them, or also television series, or a none, which has nothing to do with Judaism. So will you pick up his play even if it doesn't have a Jewish life in it? Because you already answered me, but I just want to nail it. more?
Yeah. No, I mean, for us, I think one of the most difficult parts of our conversations is when we have a great play, just it's a great play, but it doesn't have like a really strong Jewish question or core to it, and we have to pass on it, right? That's always hard to let good writing go.
Right,
But you know, we're weighing these questions of great writing and great Jewish questions
right,
equally. We want to have both
right.
of those.
Okay, okay. So
Interesting.
you get your support from whom? Who is supporting you? Because I don't know if it's a voluntary, it's a NGO or
Yeah, we're a nonprofit company. We are supported by a range of generous donors, including right now the United States government, the New York State government, and the New York City government. Thank you very
ah,
much to those organizations, but also to a range of private foundations and individuals who really see the value of the work that we're doing.
okay. So I want to go back, if you don't mind, again, because it's kind of interesting for me. Uh, you know that in the world in general, especially today with what's happening with what we call anti-Semitism, whatever, there is a confusion between Israel and Jewish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
People don't distinguish, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all in the same
You're
basket.
against Israel, you're against Jews, right? Um, do you distinguish between the two in terms of plays?
The way I think about it, I wish this. I'll have Tilly. I'll send you this image that I have. I teach a class at Cornell on about Jewish TV actually, but one of the things we talk about is these Venn diagrams of what counts as Jewish. Right? There's religious Jewishness. There's Judaism, which is one part of it.
Yeah.
There's ethnic or sort of a family history that connects you. That's one part of it. There's the biggest part of it is Jewish culture, right? This big circle of all the things that we define as Jewish culture. And now, especially over the last 75 years, there is this Jewish nationalism, right? There is a nation that is Jewish. And there's a Venn diagram, and some places they intersect and some places they don't. And what we try and do, I don't know how successfully, but what we try and do is to figure out to understand where we are within that Venn diagram. But I would say, I think as a practical matter, I think you're right. Right now, we're all in the same boat, right? Like I feel that's where we are, and part of that is, I think, very much our own making. I think for the American Jewish community has spent a ton of money and a ton of time over decades, making this argument that American Jews and Israel are wed together, and that it's true in some ways, and there's a narrative around it that's true also. And I think one of the tensions right now is when you've spent a lot of time making that narrative, to then go back and say, wait a minute, this isn't exactly the same thing, is quite hard to do.
But there's
Um,
also many Jews today that are against what's going on in Israel, and they don't like to be related to Israel. They want to be American Jews. They don't want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And generationally, I think that is particularly true. So I mean, we live in very complex times, and this is why I think, the way for us as theater people, this is how we process it, is we tell stories and see if we can figure out all the differences.
Do you get plays from Jews or about Jews from other continents, or only the United States?
No, I'm very proud to say we've gotten plays from 34 states and 10 countries.
Wow.
But we do have at the moment, at least in our submission requirements, the play has to be in English, and so that unfortunately cuts out some folks. We're trying to figure out in the
Well,
long
they
run
can
how
translate it.
to.
They can
Yeah.
translate.
They can translate it. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things we're asking with Monty, right? Like he
Yeah,
Right.
translated his
yeah,
play into
right.
English. And so translation is a complicated process itself. How do you make something that is very Israeli make sense to an American audience? Not just the language, but the spirit of it, and the questions and the assumptions. So we'd like to do more in other languages, but for now it's English.
So, we are very diverse here in Israel, right? But
Yeah.
also, I think, or I think maybe. Also, the Jews, American Jews are diverse more than ever, maybe?
Yeah.
Really? You know better than me?
They're they're very diverse. That's why I'm asking about the type of audience that he has, because there's so many types of audiences and so many
Yeah.
versions and so many
So the
divisions.
playwright, the
Absolutely.
playwright, the question if they succeed in your experience, that you have people entering the theater, that you think, okay, this is a play, and now it will be a theater, it will be on stage, and there will be audience which are going to come, and they are diverse. And do you think that most plays succeed to somehow bring the audience somehow to come from so different ideas and different corners and suddenly sail with the play and take the journey that the playwright wanted?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's for me, that's still even after all these years, that's still the magic of it, right? That you get people in a room together from wherever they're from, right? With
Yeah.
all their own baggage that they're bringing together, and you tell a story in this very old-fashioned way, and they move from being, if you do it well, it starts as I always say, like, it's not an audience until you get the first laugh, right? Until they laugh together. Before then, they're just a bunch of people facing the same direction. But once they laugh together, now they're an audience. Now they're doing something together. And that continues to be the most miraculous thing.
So when you read the play, uh, at the end of when you read it yourself, right? You in the play, are you reacting to it more emotionally? You know how much emotionally
Mm.
or where it takes you in terms of, I hate this word, but okay, message.
I think that I think that the best plays, right? And the play that won our contest last year is this amazing piece called The Last Yiddish Speaker that was just so spot on for us, where it was an incredible story, riveting, emotional. You're in tears by the end, but you're also on the end of your edge of your seat. So the theatrical experience, the emotional experience was really, really significant. But the ideas that this playwright was talking about, Deborah Zoe Lawford, the playwright's name, were about what we pass on, what is, how we pass from generation to generation, what lasts over time, like big, big ideas. And when it's done well, those two things support each other. Like the bigness of the ideas makes it more emotional, and the big emotions make the ideas more clear. It is very hard to do. And there are sometimes plays that you
Right,
like, that you think are really important, that you're like, maybe that wasn't so emotional, but my head got to work out.
right.
And other plays that you're like, that wasn't so important, but oh, I got a good laugh or a good cry in. And all of those things I think are valuable.
So do you think that the new generation of playwrights,
Hmm.
because I teach screenwriting at NYU, but most of my students also must take playwriting. So they really, a
Hmm.
lot of them are playwriting too. And many times I asked myself, comparing to different years, how skillful they get in manipulating uh, both your emotions and your ideas,
Yeah.
because they're exposed to a world which is so manipulative, right? And so, engineering your mind. That I know
But I think they're trained this way. The younger generation is so uh, comfortable in the whole messy information that we have today. They're much better with this than us.
how much,
Much
but
better.
how much they're aware. I mean, if are they really going in depth into the character, or they come and think how influential my play will be? Or and I didn't say commercial even. I say
Oh, yeah.
influential. I even more whatever doubting.
I think I have two kids who are 23, about to be 24 and 21, and they're mensches. I love them, of course, but they're big thinkers. They have big ideas, and they care about the world. And I think I think there is a generation of playwrights who is coming up who wants their work to be uh, of the moment, right? Wants to talk about the big things that are happening. But at the same time, the style of playwriting right now that's in vogue, or that's so at least where a lot of young writers are, is not the quote unquote well-made play that I think we were all sort of taught is the way to tell a story, right? Very solid structure, moves you through, has beginning, middle, and an end, right? Like very sort of clean technical approach. And these younger writers aren't so invested in that. They don't necessarily want that. And I think both of those ideas are valuable, right? Like, yes, have big ideas, tell big political stories and with a message, but and also explore the structural ideas and how you might write a play. I think what I'm seeing is that there's a little tension between those two things. If you write a play that somebody once said to me early in my career, like, what audiences have trouble with is when you change the form,
Right.
right? You can sort of
The
say whatever you want to
convention,
say, but
right?
yeah, but if you put it in the form that they understand, they'll listen. So if you change the form in such a way that the audience has to go, okay, I need to look at this a different way,
Yes.
but you want to put in a big controversial idea, sometimes it blows the play up, right? Like you put a big idea in your play and it doesn't have the structure to support it, and the whole thing kind of
Right.
falls to pieces. So I'll be interested to see how some of these really talented young writers
Well,
solve that issue.
because
Right.
in films you did have a lot of break or broke. I mean the classical parameters like beginning, middle, end, like Memento, like
Yeah. Oh, Memento. I love that movie. Oh, I
Yeah,
love
but
that movie.
that I didn't see it much in the theater, except you start with the end and like a betrayal or not or whatever. But in
Right.
the theater, I didn't see much of breaking up the classical parameters of Act One, Two, Three, etc.
Yeah, I think it depends where you go, right? Like you're not going to see that on Broadway, right? You're not going to see that, you're going to see that at the Fringe. You're going to see that at the small venue. You're going
I
to see
did
Right.
somebody
neglect.
trying something
We
different.
neglected the off Broadway. Me and Tzili, we used to go a lot. Yesterday I was in a theater who thrives on that. It's called Tmuna
Yeah.
Theater. Yes, and
Where is it?
it's
In Tel Aviv.
on a
Tel
very
Aviv? Okay.
Tel Aviv in a very funny street. Shots in you, really funny. But they look for.
Shoncino.
But I think also the Soho Theater, right, is also
Yeah.
looking. You know.
In New York. Yeah,
But the
absolutely.
question
Yeah.
is, but like you said, if they get real audience who can support, breaking, you know, the form, as you say.
I think that that audience is smaller, but they're there and they care a lot.
Right.
And when in the part of our work that we sort of define as advocating, which is when we've worked on a play and it's ready to go out and get produced, what we're looking for is where's the right venue for it, right? Not every play wants to be on Broadway. Not every play wants that, right? Some plays want to be in a small downtown venue. Some plays want to be
Right.
done in a community or an in
Right.
educational environment. Like there's different places, and I think the thing that we're trying to do in that part is find the right home for the play, where it's going to show the best.
So this
Because
is
it
not
doesn't
a
make
very,
sense to
yeah,
put the play in the wrong venue.
it's not a very nice question.
Mm.
Did you write the plays?
No, I'm a director. That's
Oh, okay.
theatrically, I'm a director and a dramaturg. But no, I believe very much in expertise, and I love playwrights, and I know great playwrights, so I let them do the work.
Yeah, no. I always think,
How do you choose the directors for the productions?
no, they should, the community does,
I
no?
understand.
No. No. We so when we're doing developmental work, I mean, I direct a lot of it, I'll just say. But when we're directing work, we usually let the playwright lead. When we're doing developmental work, we want the playwright to be in a comfortable space so they can do the best work they can. But when the plays go on to be produced, it's up to the producer who ends up directing. Sometimes they'll ask us for input, but we don't choose those directors.
So do you think that you are successful in a way of spreading I don't know how to say, the understanding of Jewishness in which
I
spread
think
to the arts,
so.
to the literature, and what etc.
I think that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, but I think so. I think that, and I think in two ways. I think we get together a group of people, artists and audience members, some of whom are sort of deeply Jewishly engaged, and this is just another way that they're exploring their Jewish life. But a lot of people, I think a lot of people that we work with, particularly actors, writers, directors, this is the most we're the most Jewish thing they do, right? And for them,
Yes.
I think it's a really wild experience that they get opened up to parts of themselves that they wouldn't otherwise have looked at. But I think for non-Jewish audience members, it's a huge impact,
Yes.
right? Because some of the stories, like we sort of know things about these questions we're talking about all the different kinds and diversity of Jewishness and Israel versus Jewish, all of those questions. Some of us are in that world all the time. But I think for non-Jews, this is new to them.
Yeah.
And so I think the plays are really doing a great job of exposing people to ideas they wouldn't see otherwise. And my belief is about the theater in general is that's how you connect with people.
So
Like
this
that's how
leads me
these things
to
together.
think. I don't know if you can do it because it's enormous. It's really
Mhm.
big. To try, every high school has a theater
Mhm.
department, and they do plays. I
They,
always see the student admissions, how many of them participated in school, in theater.
I
So
know.
maybe if some of it will go and filter into
I
high
hope
school.
so. We've been approached by high schools. They Speaking of old and new, they're not so into the new. They don't like to do the new. We're where I'm trying to figure out, and you're a professor. You can help me think about this. Is how to work with more college students, because we think there's a really interesting audience there, and obviously, as we've been talking so much about over the last couple of years, there might be some work to do on college
Yeah,
campuses, and
because
they're
all
very
the
much
drama departments have many
Mhm.
plays a year.
exactly,
And
exactly.
even in the writing department, they have a lot of readings.
Yeah,
They do a
yeah.
lot of readings and they're using students from the drama department.
I
Yeah.
would love to do more there. We have not, that's not something we've done, but man, that would be exciting.
Maybe I can, get Daniel Goldfarb, who is really very major in the department, to come and help pushing it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I'll
I
talk to
would
him.
love that. I would love
Listen, that
that.
was very
David, thank you for
revealing.
coming.
It
Absolutely.
was a
And
delight.
we'll see you in New York.
Yes, in this, yeah,
Yes. When are you coming to New York?
two and a
Mid
half
to
weeks.
end of January.
Yeah,
Will be
before the
yeah,
beginning of the semester,
yeah.
something like
Okay. Okay. Well,
Okay.
great.
that.
Well, let's get together and talk about
Yeah,
plays.
good to know you.
Very
Very
nice to
pleasure.
meet you both.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank
Take
Tzipi.
you
care.
so
Bye,
See you
much.
next
Lily.
week. Bye.
Yeah.